Unfortunately, the Port Adelaide engine stalled early in the season and has been spluttering ever since. A 5-7 record. They are down in 12th spot, and it is a must-win game at the SCG tonight if they're going to play a part in the September action. An absolutely critical game for Port Adelaide, and of course the late withdrawal of Trengove won't help their chances. Dermot Brereton, as we take a look at the Port Adelaide lineup.
As you said, Trengove is out, 197 centimetres. Stewart comes in at 191 centimetres. He's named on the interchange bench. You have a look right through this team. Ebert on the wing, he's knocked up getting the footy. Broadbent will play back. Boak is a wonderful leader. And Gray on the half-forward flank, expecting to spend big time through the middle of the ground.
Well, 9-3, you wouldn't think there's too many problems for the Sydney Swans, but when you take out Franklin in particular and also Kurt Tippett, it leaves a massive hole in the forward makeup. So how they cover for that, we're about to find out. They've got some issues of their own and they certainly don't want to cough up a game at home. Alistair Lynch, take us through the Sydney lineup.
Well, it was certainly a disappointing second half last week, but 6 convincing wins prior to that. Their backline's going to be very important. The run from Smith, Shaw and Rampy off half-back to feed the ball to their midfield, who are going to be under a lot of pressure to kick goals. Goods will play key post, as we just heard from Tippett. Sam Reid will roll off the wing, probably to centre half forward. But big Toby Nankervis, the former opening bowler for the Tasmanian under-17s cricket side, he will debut tonight. So after 2 years on the list, he'll be looking forward to a big game. Pike's going to play a really important role with his contested mark and inside forward 50. Dermot, you smile.
He's a left footer. Was he a left armer as well?
Left arm quick.
Yeah, left footers are rarely not left armers when they play. You know what I mean. Yeah.
Inside of 5 minutes before this game kicks off at the SCG, let's dive back into the lab. David King has Cam Mooney with him.
Well, we'll look at the opposition scouting report and what's important to clamp. And tonight for the Sydney Swans, Moons, you've put Jay Schultz on the radar. The Swans need to clamp him.
Well, you have to. I mean, you look at his win. When they win, he kicks 4 goals. When they lose, he only kicks 1 goal. His accuracy is what it's all about. So he kicks something like 80+% when he's kicking well. When he's kicking poorly, he kicks under 30%. He's a barometer of their side in that forward line when he's up and going.
He gives them a lot of energy, doesn't he? He gives them real hope. I think that when he's kicking well, like you say, they feel like they just need to get the ball in his area. They are frightening numbers. And I guess that's Port in a nutshell across the course of this season, isn't it?
Look, it really is. Like I said, this guy's up and flying. They're moving the ball through the middle of the ground, King, and they're getting it in there quickly. This guy is unstoppable on the lead, and when he gets that ball, he is a beautiful kick. He has been very up and down, as we're seeing right here, but when he's up and going, they're up and going.
Well, let's have a look from the Port point of view, because last week we learned a valuable lesson. Richmond put a lot of time into Lewis Jetta, particularly after half-time. They got him really clamped, as we like to say. He's had 61 midfield score involvements. He's the class in this team. He's the one who creates the overlap run. And prior to half-time last week, he was out of control. Only minimal possession, but maximum damage. Let's have a look at some vision here that we've tricked up through the week. You can see him here. He lays this tackle. He starts this tackle, and Kennedy comes in and finishes it off and draws the free kick. They want to get the ball into Lewis Jetta's hands. It's give it to him at any cost. If he's got a metre, that's enough. He's the elite kicker of the team. There he is. Just chips a short one in. Takes what's on offer. McVeigh gets it. He wants to give it back to Jetta, but Riewoldt does the job defensively. A poor handover, and all they do is say, OK, he's free. Get the ball back in his hands and let him deliver the ball inside 50, because that's the class they need. He makes that forward line work. After half-time, Moons, Richmond said, we can't allow that to happen. Let's get a lockdown on him and do not let him get handball receives wrapping around the back. And they clamped that off him, and all of a sudden they got turnover off players like Reece Shaw.
Well, he sets up so much play through that middle of the ground last week. And his kicking through the middle of the ground is as good as anyone in the competition. He gives that run around the back. If they allow that to happen tonight, he will cut them apart. Need to do the job tonight, Jace. They need to really shut down Lewis Jetta if they can.
They do, and I don't think it'll be lost on Ken Hinkley, the impact that tagging Lewis Jetta had after half-time last week. But you'd expect that to happen again, wouldn't you?
Well, he's an important player. He's got a 50-metre leg. He's a really piercing kick. We know he can run. We know what pace he's got. But he's a real piercing kick of the football, 50 metres every time he gets it. So he's a real skillful player. They'll be certainly clamping on him, I would have thought.
Yeah, you've got to be careful of the smaller players like Kieran Jack as well. He can play a defensive role in the forward half, but also kick goals, so he can hurt the opposition. I think Sydney are pretty well equipped through the midfield and small forwards to kick a winning score tonight.
Have a look at the Port Adelaide side. There is danger with Robbie Gray. They don't have the natural matchup. Once you get past and put Nick Smith to somebody, whether he goes to wing guard, they don't have a natural matchup. If you're putting Reece Shaw on Gray, I'm worried. I'm worried straight up.
Ready to go at the SCG. Go and grab a coldie, grab a coffee, grab your couch supplies, because on the other side of the break we'll be coming back with the first bounce. It's Thursday night footy on Fox. Toss of the coin at the SCG. Travis Boak and Kieran Jack. Kieran Jack gets the toss, so a good start for the Sydney Swans. Let's get the final thoughts from the lab and David King and Cam Mooney.
Well, I'm going with Port Adelaide tonight. I think they can cause a bit of an upset, Moons. This is everything to them, this game. The mindset of this team is focused. I'm going to tip them in.
Look, I'm with you tonight. I think Wingard, Boak, Gray, Wines and Ebert through the middle of the ground can get it done.
A little bit of push and shove prior to the game. We see that every week. The boys have jumped off. No Franklin, no Tippett. They're all going for Port Adelaide.
Well, one thing Sydney can still do is bring heat. They can still bring pressure to a game. And one thing that has made Port Adelaide wilt this season has been raw and extreme pressure. I think Sydney get it done.
Oh, I think Sydney get it done too. I reckon Port will take a lot out of what Richmond did. One contested footy last week and a really good kicking game from Richmond.
Yeah, both teams' elite talent in the midfield is going to be a great contest.
All right, they are all set to go. Let's head back to the SCG for the first bounce. It's Sydney taking on Port Adelaide.
Pike. Lobe over the top. Jack. In there was Westhoff. Really good handball. Gray. So good with his hands. Here's Gray. Calhoun out wide and Hartlett. They're better ball handlers. Now, this is the sort of kick they're going to be looking for all night to get it back inside. Unfortunately for them, Wines dropped what should have been an easily marked. Here's Hartlett now. Short ball, Westhoff. He'll wheel and go, and he does. Waste no time at all. Gets it wide to Cracker.
So Cracker, a blistering start against the Blues a couple of weeks ago, goes searching inside. Wingard, strong hands, second effort, not quite, little give. Hartlett's been busy early to Shaw from Laidler, and suddenly they're out of trouble and perhaps away. Rowan, brilliant last week. One of the two Swans who got a vote in the Coaches' Awards. He had terrific hands last weekend, and he starts well tonight.
Yeah, they were terrific hands, and he was on fire early last week. They need a four-quarter performance out of him tonight in that forward line.
So wide to Grundy, who's been so reliable. So too Richards, missed so few home and away games between them. Lloyd goes searching. McVeigh, Wines, the old and the young, they have a fair sort of a tussle. Wines to space. Lloyd goes back. Little give to Mitchell. Back to Lloyd. They retreat. They're comfortable to do so. Now Richards, bit of a fumble. Smith asked to do a lot. Hartlett. Backwards he goes. Ebert. Now to space. Well, Jonas had to stand up, lost his feet, took them all on.
So Parker deep in that forward line, Richo. Goods the second man out. And Nankervis all there in picture, as you can see. Great shot of the new look temporary forward line. Goods was off. Was he tripped? Was he driven forward? Yes, he was. In the back. Says the umpire.
Oh, this will be just the start that Adam Goods wants tonight. Look at Luke Parker there. That's perfect. He's very, very good one-on-one. He doesn't get beaten, Brian, and he brought it to the front, and Goods was in the perfect spot.
For career goal 451, the superstar Adam Goods from point-blank range, 20 out, directly in front. He's got a beautiful technique. No problems at all. Sydney get the first.
Richo, Tommy Jonas hasn't had the most outstanding season. Not the ideal way to start. I think Adam Goods lost his feet with one of his players, got tripped up. Jonas was about to tackle, fell into the back, gives away the free kick, first goal of the Swans.
It's the sort of things that happen when things aren't going your way for Tom Jonas. And now there's a free kick coming out of the middle of the ground here. I'm not sure what has happened there. It's against Big Nankervis, I think.
Now there's a free kick being paid in the middle here, because while Goods was taking that shot for goal, there was a bit of a push and a shove going on behind the play in the middle of the ground.
Go down to Jude in a moment to see if he saw who was involved as Lobe goes searching to half forward. Jetta closing speed, good. Montfree's free kick. Colquhoun, who's making his way back into this side after having a knee reconstruction. To Pittard, who wheels onto that left boot. Long ball, top of the square. Here comes Wingard over the top. Not quite. Had it, lost it. Jack, composed to Laidler. Well, outnumbered here, the Swans.
Gee, that's dangerous, letting Wingard run and jump at the footy like that. Sorry, Hamish. He went unchecked into that marking contest. If he gets a jump at it very often, he'll make you pay. You just need to put body on him.
Well, Cracker's kick, normally brilliant, disappointing, so Lloyd can pick out Parker on the wing.
Parker wanted to go, decided against it, and just decides patience is the way to go here as most Port defenders get forward of the footy, and that'll be cut off. Pittard, who's a really good sag-off player, intercept player. Now to Cracker. Just pulled the kick a little bit here, looking for Lobie. Had to get down low, the big fella did it really well. Back to Cracker. This kick looks pretty good. A little too heavy for Wingard there to do his work. Over the back it comes, opportunity. Richards almost threw it out. Laidler threw it. Good tackle by Wingard.
Well, he's in the game. He looks on early, Chad Wingard. He was involved in another marking contest, came out on the lead, and then got straight back after it and laid a great tackle. He's been on fire lately.
He's a gun tackler, Richo, too, isn't he?
He is, and that's his job as a small forward, but he can do it all down there. He's kicked 12 goals in his last 3 games.
So he, too, is directly in front. A kick of only 25 metres here. Wingard comes in to level the scores up. Goal apiece in the opening minutes here at the SCG.
It's going to be a great battle, that one. Nick Smith, All-Australian back pocket last year, was rarely beaten. And he has the job on probably, along with Eddie Betts, the most dangerous small forward in the comp at the moment. He gets high possessions. Chad Wingard, he can mark the ball, and he's a goal kicker. Kicked 5 in his last start. And he's not the sort of guy you want to get up and running early. He's a player that just, once he's going, he's nearly impossible to stop.
Hard not to love the way Chad Wingard plays his footy. He's kicked 6 goals in his last 8 kicks.
He's on fire. Heyman, gee, they've opened up their forward 50. Lobie is 1 out in the goal square, and there's not another Port player inside 50.
So 5 goals from 7 kicks against the Blues in that 4-point loss. And first kick tonight, a major. Towers, one of the 3-ins for the Swans. Speaking to Tony Maud on the plane on the way up, he said his pace is equal to Gary Rowan and to Jedders. So watch Dean Towers over 25 metres. Reid, terrific kick from Rowan. Clean hands from Reid.
Clean hands. He's got terrific hands. We know that. A great contested mark. Can float in from the side, can come over the top, and he can get on the lead like that. But don't underestimate Parker's lead. That opens up the space for Reid to come in behind.
So 3 goals from 11 games this year. You cannot kick a footy much better than that. Swans back in front.
Well, there you go. Adam Goods and Sam Reid, the men that they needed to step up tonight and kick goals. Of course, they were the key forwards in the 2012 Premiership, so it's not like they don't know how to do it, Hamish. And that was great hands. And, gee, sometimes his kicking has let him down, his set shot kicking. That's a good start.
Yeah, he's been a bit under the pump for Sam Reid in terms of his kicking, but no, there, just a beautiful set shot.
Well, there's Luke Parker, comes out on the lead, and that opened up the space. You have to do unrewarded leads in 50, don't you, BT?
Oh, that was perfectly picked there, Richo. Well spotted, by the way. Bit of class on the scoreboard already. When you look at it, Goods, Wingard and Reid, all kicking goals. Big-time players here. Porter stacking in. They've really got a good body language here at the moment from Port Adelaide.
Hey, Jude, that's a good start for Sam Reid. His kicking has been maligned a little bit at times.
Oh, definitely. He's lost confidence over the time with his set shot goals, but that kick was absolutely sensational. At ground level here, it is absolutely perfect conditions now.
The skipper, free out of the middle, just inches the ball wide here. So Port just in the go slow, patient mould. Remember, in game 2 this year, Sydney absolutely clamped Port and gave them none of this type of opportunity. Westhoff low along the boundary line, searching but not finding Schultz. And it was an incredibly defensive game. One of the best defensive games I've seen Sydney play back in round 2 against Port.
So Richards, who hasn't missed a game in the last 3 years for the Swans, to Lloyd. Neatly to Kennedy. Another part of this Kennedy legacy to Hanbury, who's going to be a Swan for a long time.
Yeah, Towers showed that pace then, Hamish, to get off and take that mark leading backwards.
So inside to Hanbury. So they lost Franklin and Tippett, 358 games and almost 1,000 goals. And in comes 11 games and 5 goals with Towers and Nankervis on debut. So they've lost a lot, but it'll be interesting to see what Towers can do as he tries to break into this side.
Yeah, he seems to be the first one out when there's a change. Dean Towers comes in and out a lot. So this may be a really good opportunity to play a full game tonight.
Nankervis, who's been an emergency 8 times or so already, gets his first taste, going back with a flight. Rampy, here's Westhoff, bouncing ball, once, twice, no problem, all square again.
Yeah, nice start for Justin Westhoff. Disappointing, the Swans had that ball in their own forward 50. Port gained possession, but they should have been able to just keep them in slow play mode. You give away a 50, and on a short ground like this, they're inside 50 and Westhoff makes them pay. So a good start from Port. They're matching the Swans. It's a patient game. Both teams are playing pretty patient football at the moment. So nice crumb there from the big man Justin Westhoff. That's not his one wood. So when he's doing that, he's going to be pretty happy. And a disappointing 50 down there, and the Swans forward line basically gave them a chance to kick that goal, Port.
Bit of a goal fest going on here at the moment. 10 minutes played, 4 goals collectively kicked, and no sign of that clamping defence. So these are good signs for an entertaining game.
It's a pretty patient type of a game from both teams at the moment. We haven't seen any real transition, quick play. Both teams are prepared to be a little bit patient with their ball movement at the moment.
Ollie Wines in there fighting hard, and another example of Port wanting to get in and under there first, Richo.
Yeah, Port have got the loose man back, BT. At the moment, it's Stewart, and now Reece Shaw is the man going back for the Swans.
It's Nankervis doing the ruck work that came into your screen then. So congratulations to Toby, the 20-year-old. Sharon and Kingsley, the parents, flew in from Tasmania today.
From Georgetown, he's from home, and that is a small town, not far from Launceston.
Hompsch did well, just separated from all the Swans who were charging at him onto that left foot of his who he's used so well. Hartlett happy to use either side. Beautiful off the left or the right to Colquhoun. Jude Bolton said, a perfect night for football, and really the beginning of the end for Port if they can't close out the Swans. Stewart, who was delayed in for Trengove, wide to Carlisle. Through the middle of the ground they come. Ebert has got one over the top out wide. It's Monfries. It's going to be a bouncing ball in the end, and he does well. Monfries takes on the tackler and a bounce, runs to within range. Well, Wingard was the target, and why not? But well done, Nick Smith. Perhaps unheralded until last year as an All-Australian, but Nick Smith, so often the man that saves the day for the Swans.
Yeah, rarely gets beaten, but good defence from the Swans, and they really had numbers in the corridor, and it forced Wingard to had to lead very wide then.
Andrew umpire taking a long time to get this back into play. Out the back is Kennedy. Goods.
It's got nothing.
So he had to pull the kick as a result of having nothing. Jack's mark was not paid by the umpire. Fast handballs Parker. Umpire had to duck though, and ball shot out in the Kennedy direction. Good tackle by Ebert now. Gee, I reckon the head would have hit the ground on the tackle as well, and there was nothing wrong with the tackle. It was perfectly pinned arms, and if he had been knocked out in that tackle, I wonder what we'd be saying, because I'm sure he hit the ground pretty hard, but it's the perfect tackle, the one-arm pin.
So the Swans lurking about the place. This time Lobie wins against Nankervis. Parker, Archie, Broadbent gets some territory and some time for the moment. Century show if Port are going to have a big win here and claim a scalp as they run home towards finals, everything needs to go right. So the Westhoff style goal needs to be majors, not behinds, and Wingard needs to clunk and be accurate.
Well done by Nan Curvis. Beautiful palm down on the path of McVeigh there. Gee, that looked throwish. Umpire says keep going, and Westhoff obeys and gets it long, but too far for Gray, and now putting some pressure on Rampy. Just got the little handball out in front. Careful not to sit on it. He'll be pinned. Now he pulls it in. Now he must get rid of it. So Gray and Rampy there.
That's the definition of nervous, I reckon. Being a defender, one out on a Robbie Gray inside 50.
He sweating on you.
Oh, you don't want to be one out on that man.
Lobie with Nankervis, Hanbury, Smith, Parker, all names that are important to Sydney. Towers, you talk about his speed, he's got a big vertical leap as well. Opportunity, Cahoon there. Alapati Carlisle back to Cahoon, goes inside 50, long ball, shoots. Don't reckon he expected to mark it. He did the old chest body, Richo. Put the hands up straight, use the chest.
It was good use of his body. We'll have another look here. Yeah, but nothing wrong with that, Brian. Didn't use his hands, used his body. The elbow was tucked in, and you're allowed to have a bit of contact when you're a key forward and a key defender. When he kicks goals, Brian, they don't lose.
He gets this momentum in his run, and he often kicks them, Richo.
Put the mocker on him, Brian, but when Jay Schultz plays well, generally that means Port Adelaide are going to win.
He's kicked 25-12 coming into tonight, and he was really battling with supporters getting into about missing that crucial goal shot against the Blues. Misses early against the Swans. Kennedy.
So Kennedy has to be patient here because he didn't have anything forward.
He was patient. Rowan lost his feet, kept his head. Did he take the mark? Umpire said no. I'd have been a bit stiff there. We'll see it on replay. Brendan Archie just fires it out. Wanted Wines, didn't find him. Stewart over the shoulder into the middle of the ground again. Jarman Impey got Grundy to take on. Laidler comes and gives a bit of support. Jarman Impey again. Terrific on Parker. Took him to ground. Impey's really provided something this year for the power.
The signs are really good home from Port. They are desperate.
No, it was a bump ball. It was a bump ball. A good call.
Good call.
We know that Sydney are always that way, but there's Cracker. Went without the footy. Rowan to Kennedy. Kennedy gets a look from 30. He nails the goal. Sydney's third.
Well, that's important as well. Joey Kennedy hitting the scoreboard, and they're going to need that tonight. They're going to need some mid-rotations to contribute when they go forward, and Kennedy was playing as a genuine forward then. And I reckon he had too much of a leg rope inside 50 for a guy as dangerous as him. He was able to just have too much space then.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Richo, too much space afforded to Josh Kennedy here. He's allowed to put a little bit of pressure on inside 50 and just get on and snap his 5th goal of the season. He hasn't only kicked the 4 goals from his 12 games. He'll hit the scoreboard again tonight, I just expect.
Yeah, spot on, Jude. You're happy if you're a forward and you're running around inside 50 with no body pressure on you. That's what happened.
So his 5th of the year, he's been inaccurate. Here's a chance again for Kennedy. He's used his body well against Stewart, and he's kept the ball close to goals. Kennedy's kicked 4 for the year, Richo, but he hasn't always been so accurate.
Yeah, 4 goals, 10 this year, Hames. So he'll be happy to kick the first one, get his confidence up.
He's already seen the ball 8 times, averaging 27 for the year, so looks like he's set for a big night. Hartlett, Towers the tackler. Nankervis just bullocking his way through, ripped the football away. So the 20-year-old gets taken to ground on debut.
It's a pretty good even contest, though, so far. Talk about stats a lot in football, and they're all pretty even at the moment. Nothing really standing out.
Umpire Troy Pennell works out who the designated ruckmen are. Cahoon goes in, wrapped in the goods tackle, and we'll do it again.
It's going to be tough to get out of here now for Port Adelaide. The Swans have got it locked in, and look at the numbers behind the footy, Brian.
Both runners here, you can see them in the foreground. They're not delivering any messages. They've been on the ground for about 2 minutes, just standing there. They've got to get off the ground. I mean, They've been sitting out there waiting, and they're coaching on the ground, not delivering messages, Richo.
They waiting because there was a ball up about to occur, maybe, and they couldn't run in.
Well, there were four ball ups in a row then, Richo, or three.
Yeah, so they got to get off and come back on. Yeah.
Shout the message out. Impractical, do you think?
Take a megaphone out there with you, maybe.
Oh, come on, get on and get off. Rampy.
Those sort of things that do irritate you, Brian, I've noticed.
They do. There's Jetta. Looking to send one forward. On the lead, picked up by the big fella, Nankervis, around the corner. How classy was that to Kennedy?
Yeah, great skills. But, gee, that matchup is not going the way that Port Adelaide want at the moment. Kennedy kicks the goal before. Look at the big man. That is fantastic. But Kennedy again. I mean, Cracker's got to expect anything can happen playing as a defender. And
Kennedy comes to finish off. He's got two.
Well, he's on fire. Joey Kennedy, the last two goals. But how good was Big Nankervis there? Spins around on the left leg and just floats a little one into space.
With his first kick and footy.
Yeah, it's not a bad first kick. He's going to remember that one. Bit of silver service for Joey Kennedy. It's just getting to a little dangerous stage now here for Port Adelaide. Darren Jarman like out there from the big boy from Tassie. Look at this. Yeah, Jars would have been happy with that. Just put it into space. And Cracker's got to get some body pressure on as a defender there.
He's in that famous club. First kick, first goal assist.
Yeah.
Kennedy's got a couple. The Swans have gone back-to-back, and they're 4 straight. Can the Power answer this outfit that has had the wood on them for so long? They've won 12 of the last 14, Sydney, against the Power. The last 5 here over the Power at the SCG, and 9 of the last 12 here at the SCG. So their record, the Swans against Port Adelaide, is formidable. So nobody, no tippet, and for the moment, no problems for the Swans.
That'll be 50. Should be. He clearly mentioned Port Adelaide's free kick before Hanbury kicked it then. Should have been 50.
Yeah, it should be.
So Wines
need a big specky here.
long and deep over the head of Schultz. Richards had the good position there. Now Schultz pulled his way through. Westhoff's kick smothered. Wingard got the little handball out to Stewart. The late replacement gave it to Cracker. An inside-out ball working. Did it beautifully. So they respond, Port. Cracker's got his first.
Fantastic from Cracker. Well, he's had 2 goals kicked on him, so that's a good way to get yourself back into the game. Go down and get one back as a defender. Terrific work. They really did press down. It was brave as a defender. I'm going to get down there and do some work inside forward 50, and it was a great finish. So that's terrific. As a defender, he hasn't gone into his shell. He's had 2 goals kicked on him, and he said, no, I'm going to get down there, and pushed in and got a handball receive inside 50. Terrific work.
So the banana from 40 gets the Power back to within 5 points after back-to-back goals to Joey Kennedy.
So it looks like Cracker's playing on the resting on-baller. He's now on McVeigh. Kennedy had come off the ground for a rest. He's back on now. McVeigh goes forward.
Here's Brendan Archie. Doesn't hit it quite as cleanly as he would have liked. Jetta with the speed. Hartlett to chase. Hartlett knew he couldn't keep up, so did well. Just corralled him, kept him in against the boundary line. Kick forward, great. Well, here's Cracker scoring goals at the other end and defending at this. Kick, not great in the end, and Shaw saw it, took it cleanly. To the outer side, 50-50 ball. Monfries, Reed limping behind. Little one back. Jones went searching. Well done in the end. Terrific from Lloyd. Back to Reed. Tackle good. Ball spilt. Throwing the ball advantage. Not called. It'll come back. Great tackle. Pinned the arm.
Yeah, nothing.
Another great year.
Nothing Reed can do there. Great tackle.
Both teams are on here at the moment. There's Ella Paddy Carlisle up the middle to Ryder, or in fact it is Archie. Archie into the middle. Now an opportunity here for Impey.
This is the way to play the SCG, in the middle. It's not a long ground.
Clinical, isn't it, Richo?
Yeah, now gone out wide, but it's a really long ground, but it's also very wide, and I reckon teams up here at times can get trapped out on the wings.
Yeah, you have to
into the
brave
middle
up the
here.
middle, Richo. You have to take them on up the middle, and here they're just going side to side. Sydney wouldn't mind this. They'll try and close them down here.
It's nearly as wide as it is long, Jude, this ground.
Hartlett looks for a runner. Didn't like what he saw, so pounds the ball long and deep. Westhoff's there, Loby's there. Great body use again. Was it legal? Umpire says yes. And Westhoff lines up for his second.
He's having a big first quarter, Justin Westhoff. He'll be having his 8th disposal here, maybe his 2nd goal. That's twice Teddy Richards has been bodied out. I would say reasonably easy. I reckon Teddy needs to steal his body there a little bit more.
So Westhoff, look at that, directly in front. Shouldn't have any problems converting. No real troubles here tonight. He's got a couple, Westhoff, and this is a great start from Port.
Yeah, great comeback from Port Adelaide. Kennedy had kicked 2 goals, and you thought, gee, you wouldn't want the Swans to get the next one. It was a dangerous period for Port, and they've responded with the next 2 goals. Hit the lead, and Westhoff's been the major reason for that. He's had 8 disposals, 2 goals, a couple of clearances. He's done it all in this first quarter. So this was the first time that he's been outmarked, Teddy Richards, and the second one, I reckon both times there, he just needed to steal himself, and I reckon he was looking for a free kick.
So 3rd lead change for the night. Loby becomes a rover.
And it was good contested marking too from the forwards. Didn't use their hands. Perfect technique.
So Westhoff, he's got a couple. He's done that 6 times this year. Hasn't kicked 3 yet. You suggest he might have to if the Power can have a win tonight. Jonas, Cahoon, Adam Goods, another week defending his actions from his on-field battles. Time he would have rather spent getting focused for the football, but that seems to be the way with Adam. And Curvis, Loby wins it. Swans get first use of the football, only momentarily though. Kennedy got a couple of goals already tonight, tried to punch it forward on the left. But a Power defence holds up for the moment, and then, well, they almost get what they wanted. They do.
Former Richmond skipper Chris Newman getting involved on Twitter, just having a go at me saying that I said the ground was long. No, it's a short ground, Newey.
Yep.
But it's a wide ground as well, is what I was trying to say.
So it just makes more sense, Newey. It is actually closer to being as wide as it is.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Whatever they're saying, some old wounds being opened there.
Newey hasn't become one of those that just tees off at home, has he?
Those posts are pretty tall too, aren't they, Richo?
They're big posts, Jude. Very tall up here.
Jude, what are you seeing in this game at the moment?
Oh, it's just tough around the clinches at the moment. Both teams are tackling extremely well at ground level. You can just see the bodies are crashing in.
Gee, that bump then, having seen that on replay, was definitely head high. So I wonder whether that'll be looked at. We might get another opportunity to have a look and a break in play, but he was down low and he was met with the hip, and it looked like it was to the head. A lot of players around the footy. Wines tries to go the direct route, Boak in and under there. Wines as well, so setting the example in here. Ollie Wines did well. Stewart, the late replacement in there, ball pinned. Gee, it's a big... Have a look at this, Richo. Let's have a look.
Oh, gee.
He was just standing there, Hanbury, wasn't he?
I reckon he's used the correct technique. They're telling players not to lead with their heads. They're telling them to go side on.
Both players were as low as they could get then, weren't they?
You would hope that that's just 2 players with a genuine attempt to win the footy there. We don't want players leading with their heads. That's what we don't want them doing, and I think Hanbury did the right technique.
You've got to get down to pick the footy up.
Yeah, exactly.
Hanbury had one of those that Eddie had a few years ago against Michael Hurley. Very, very similar situation. Got down to win the footy.
Yeah, that's right.
So the Power, after Kennedy's back-to-back goals, have got the last couple in this match, and right now in good shape in a must-win affair on a Thursday night, and what Jude Bolton has described as a perfect night for football. Dry, underfoot, Ebert thumping the ball a long way, buying 15 or 20 metres. Healthy sort of a crowd in. The Power 5 and 7.
High tackle numbers in this game. Both teams are good tackling teams, but that's a high number on target for 100 each at this point.
The Swans coming off a hiccup. Mitchell hurriedly forward. Rowan. So back to Adam Goods. Got the first goal of the game. Kennedy's got a couple. Reid, the other goal scorer for the Swans. Goods kick. Well, it goes in the Mitchell direction. Wasn't ideal. Quickly he comes back inside. The Swans have got a bit to do here. Kennedy back to Lloyd. Lloyd just arches his back. Goes searching. Rowan again, a bump ball. Just held it up. Pittard is with Rowan for the moment. Parker gives a bit of assistance. It's going to come out through Parker in the end. Drop the ball. So 90 seconds to play in the first term. Power with their noses in front.
The skipper to Wingard did well. Smith on that occasion gives Sydney another opportunity here as Goods keeping the ball in front. Jonas defensively nice work as well.
Well, Port Adelaide have got to realise that they have to be close to Sydney at half-time. They've been poor in their second halves in the last month, the Swans. They've only won 3 quarters in the second half of the year since round 8. So,
Ryder, great work then against Mike Pike.
So they're with them at half-time. They're a real chance, Port Adelaide. The Swans have been slow at the end of games.
So down to the last 1.25 minutes here. Mike doing the ruck work. Third man up Wines, as he's been a number of times in this quarter already. So 8 goals kicked collectively here to this point in the game. It's a good result. Crowd, as you mentioned, Haim, not bad here tonight. Last time these two sides played here, it was 41,300. Now it's nowhere near that tonight. Just shows you they like Saturday afternoon football at the SCG. That is for sure. It's close to out of bounds on the full. You can see sparsely populated that stand there, but all in all, a good Thursday night crowd. Ryder again in front, doing well. Opportunity on that occasion, Mitchell. A give and go from Parker. Now sends it forward bound. In the air, great grab. Good stuff from Gary Rowan.
She's got good hands, Gary Rowan. It's a great contested mark.
Now we've got to look at this footy from Reid from this position, a little bit further out this time. Even though it is a bit windy here tonight, he was able to absolutely...
It didn't move, did it, Reid?
Ball at the footy. There was no left or right, but I guess it depends what the player has in his kick, Richo, whether they generally turn the ball right to left or left to right. Let's have a look at Rowan and see what his natural turn of the footy is. Kick on the way, needs it to work left to right, won't get it. And a minor score. So scores level as we near the end of this first quarter.
Broadbent just goes searching for territory. Ryder hasn't been too influential in this opening term, but he's a welcome addition to this Port Adelaide outfit. He and Lobie have got a big night ahead of them. But at quarter time, the game has no leader. 25 apiece. Thursday night football at the SCG.
Things pointing to a really good contest here. Both sides got going. Their marks and opportunities presented at both ends from some of the star players, and Sydney appear to have no troubles covering the forward issues with marks like that to Sam Reid and goals to Kennedy, Reid and Goods as well. So plenty to look forward to in this game. 4-1-25 apiece at the moment. What about Kennedy? 12 touches of the footy already.
One of TV's greatest dramas. Watch The Walking Dead seasons 1 to 4 with the Presto 30-day free trial. Go to presto.com.au.
And here at the SCG tonight, Tom Jonas has been mic'd up for us in that first quarter. Let's have a listen to some of the sounds of the game.
Play the percentages, the ball's next to the boundaries, team within a team, look after each other, right? You use your run, but don't rely on it. Physical. Half, half, half! Here, here, here! Go, Bobby, one back. Straight up. Go. Thanks, Mike. Go. Play on. Look at Paddy. Left. Play on. Brogsy, play tall. Ah, it's great work. Appreciate Port Adelaide Football Club and Tom Jonas doing that for us. We'll have him mic'd up right through the game. Jude, how did you see a couple of the stars in Boak in particular for Port in that quarter?
Yeah, just I felt Travis Boak and Robbie Gray didn't really get their hands on the footy. Only both had the 2 possessions that quarter. Expect them to really lift this next quarter.
Second chapter getting underway. Pike and Lobie, the big men in the middle of the ground. Pike getting assistance from the debutant in Toby Nankervis tonight. Parker, well, took on Cracker, did well, had time. He had McVeigh running by. Here's Kennedy, already got a couple. Swings it wide. Nankervis onto the left boot.
Now he's in that other club. Second kick out in the full home.
Yeah, it's famous.
At least he's getting his hands on it, the big fella, though. He's looking from Georgetown.
Where is Georgetown in Tasmania, Richo? You said near
not far from Launceston.
Inland or on the coast?
No, it's inland.
Some famous names, from Georgetown.
Yeah, we've had a tweet from Georgetown, a couple of other famous ones. Brad Green,
right,
and Xavier Doherty, the spinner from Tassie.
It's all happening in Georgetown.
It is, Brian.
Down there. Opportunity here, Broadbent on the boundary. Hartlett, really good user of the footy. Schultz, the cute little give from Schultz sets Hartlett free, and that kick's not so good. Grundy.
What a player he's been for the Swans over the journey. Via Norwood, he's a constant staple. He's missed, Richo, 3 games, home and away, of finals since 09.
Just re-signed too, Hamish.
Remarkable. Nankervis versus Carlisle. Jack crashes the pack. Gray, brilliant. Little one, Westhoff. Now to Schultz. Back to Jonas. Broadbent sweeps it wide. He got a bit of space. Richards will try and corral him for the moment. Left foot. Now tough in the end for Wingard. Got caught behind Nick Smith. He did a good job at it. Taken high, no. On freeze, went wide. Wines. Little one wider, 2. Wingard back inside. The youngsters combining. Giving it up here, Port. Jack Smith and away. Well, lumbering at the football. Nankervis to Pike. The 2 big men combine. All done over the top. Pike left handball.
Left-hand handball from Big Mike. He didn't look too comfortable on it, but he did it well. Jack now sees something on he really likes. Does he let the wheels go here, Rowan? No, he backs it up. He's also a thumping kick, but I'm not sure from there. It's over the top, and getting back here is Reid. They'll have to protect the play on around the corner here from Reid because it's almost a certainty. And he's going back like he's kicking the drop bunt, but I don't reckon he will. He now turns sideways, points towards almost the middle of the ground, off a couple of steps, and they do it so well. 2 for Reid.
One of the first times tonight we've seen some real transition from one end of the ground to the other there from the Sydney Swans. Regained possession in their back 50 and then just worked it the length of the ground down to Sam Reid, who's kicked 2 goals. That's great for him, a career best of 6. And they needed him to stand up tonight, and it's looking like he may be able to get the job done. it's an A1 position to be as a forward when you're running back. You've got the defender caught in front of you. You feel pretty confident that you're going to be able to mark it in that situation.
So 2 kicks for the 23-year-old, 2 straight for Sam Reid tonight. Kennedy's got 2 straight too, and the Swans have got the lead back. 4th lead change on Thursday night football. Well, Brendan Archie had it, lost it. Jones to Richards, Smith to Gone Ryder, did well. Wingard picks it up, quick as a flash.
How good's the hiccup though?
He's clean, isn't he?
Oh, geez, clean. Got it to boot really quickly as well. Was under pressure. It would have been a really good goal if he had been able to get that online.
Laidler looking a little confused here at the moment. Eventually sees Goods ride. That's just great use of the foot. He was a little early. No, umpire Troy Pennell says all okay by him. Hanbury now launches up towards Reid. Beautifully across the face of the pack. Could have blazed away and got it into the first game ahead, Nan Curvis. And guess what? A first career goal.
That was a little bit too easy. There's Reid again. Gee, looks good when he floats across the front and marks like that. And he's looked good, Nan Curvis.
The opportunity, has presented. And here he is, the boy from Georgetown down there in Tassie. They'll be up and about down there, especially if he gets this. Oh, boy, it was a funny run-up, but he kicked the goal.
Oh, the boys love him.
Nan Curvis has got his first ever AFL goal.
The big left footer, he's doing it all. He's had an assist, he's kicked a goal, he's had a couple of tackles, he's had a clearance, he's had a mark. He's pretty happy now. He's coming off for a spell. He's been interchanged as well. He's ticked off everything.
Got the standing O now as well to go with it all.
Oh, they love him up here.
Well, here he is. Have a look. It's an unusual little run-up and then all of a sudden a turn to the right aim. It's not what I'd call textbook, but it was very, very nicely done.
Had the left footer's arc on it. Oh, ran out to the side.
Little compact drop.
Yeah.
So the left arm quick gets his first AFL goal.
Loved dropping them in short, apparently. Really intimidated the batsman.
Sheridan Kingsley, the parents have flown up today, as we said. They'll be very pleased sitting in the stands.
The last 2 forward entries, though, for the Swans, the Port defenders have pushed so far forward and so far up that they've allowed Sydney to get in behind them.
Pike wanted Kennedy, found him in the end. Kennedy did a good job, had a heap of pressure, and it was a bouncing ball, controlled the opposition and the ball beautifully. Pittard is Jarman Impey, back to Cracker. Thumps it to the wing, couple of one-on-ones in the end. Boak got Mitchell to beat, and then Mitchell just charges towards the boundary line, did a good job. So Schultz has been offline tonight. Accurate season. Westhoff, he's been impressive. He's got a couple. Reid, the lone goal scorer in this second term.
Yeah, they're getting a bit worried about Kennedy around the clearances because he is on fire in that area of the game. That's his strength, obviously.
Well, Goods.
He's had 5 clearances, so now he's being held.
A lot of power jumpers to beat for Adam Goods. Paddy Carlisle. Big assignment for him tonight.
Just watching Gary Rowan coming off, boys. He's in the arms of the trainer at the moment. Doesn't look good at all.
No, it does not look good for Gary Rowan. That'll be a huge blow for Sydney if he can't get back out there. Wines. In and out went Archie. Over the top back to Wines. Funny little kick, but good stretch from Stewart. Looks for a run pass, nothing on. So, in fact, there is to Wingard. Wingard's got nothing immediately in front of him. There's no one deep. So he lets it rip with a big ball. Great kick, was it touched right on the line by Rampy.
Yeah, I thought that had the legs send that kick. He looks dangerous, though, Wingard. It's one of those nights where it could all happen for him.
Looking forward to going down to Jude. I've been keeping my eyes on Gary Rowan. He looks desperate. He put his hands over his head.
Looks like a hamstring, Hamish. It looks like a hammy, so the sub is warming up at the moment.
Just finding some really good touch too, Gary Rowan. So disappointing finish to the evening for Rowan after a lot of promise early and brilliant last Friday night. Hanbury. Jack should just drift in, did well.
Well, that's shattering for Gary Rowan.
So Jack searching ball inside 50. Ryder had hands on it. Now who just keeps their feet here? Carlisle kept his momentarily. Cahoon gave it off. Good slow ball. Would have been touched. Doesn't matter. One behind.
Yeah, boys, the sub's been made. Gary Rowan, as you can see in this vision, just the hammy just goes, and that bit of footage there. As the Swans, they just absolutely love this guy. He's just a guy who rides the waves of AFL football, the highs and lows, and here's a big low point. It's the 4th time he'll take the subs vest.
So that's a 3 to 4 week injury for Gary Rowan there.
BT's used to overcoming adversity. He had that 483-day gap between matches after he broke his leg, so let's hope he can make his way back.
Broadbent did not make a good fist of that, and you can see the disappointment all over the face. And Harry Cunningham, the sub, is activated, as Jude has just mentioned, as a result of the Gary Rowan hamstring. Looks like a left hamstring. So Jack, from beyond 50, just pops it towards the square. Good-looking ball, and over the top it went at Pike, and Reed's able to get it done. I think everyone in front thought that Pike was going to make some sort of contact.
Well, he stepped up, Sam Reed. He's taken 4 marks.
Wants to kick around the corner here again, Richo, and he does that. Done it really nicely. Got 3 Reed. Talk about step up. This man's done it, Richo.
Well, you just need opportunities at times, and obviously with Buddy and Tippett inside forward 50, it's not going to be for you. You've got to find another role, and he's been playing other roles, but tonight he goes and spends all his time inside 50, and he stepped up when needed.
So Reed completing his 3rd goal. Just, Jude, I reckon Port have just lost their concentration at the start of this quarter by the looks a little.
Yeah, just they look really rattled around the stoppages. Some of the defensive efforts have been really poor. As we mentioned, they're letting the Swans get in behind them, and the Swans look really versatile with this different forward line.
Ryder thumps the ball away. It's going to come back. So Cunningham, who's on for Gary Rowan, little one, Hanbury, Reed. He's got 3 so far this evening. He's been terrific. Cracker runs into trouble, does well, gets out of trouble. Look for Wingard and Gray. Some sort of a combination. Hard up against the line. Well, just kept in by Westhoff. Well, no.
Gee, that's tough.
He was trying to
parallel that ball with the boundary line. He had a metre to do it. It could have easily bounced left. Instead it bounced right, and it's deliberate. That is a tough decision. Ryder somehow kept that alive, although Gray didn't want to.
Hey, Jude, Travis Boak, he's been on the interchange bench, come back on and gone forward. Only the 3 disposals tonight. They're desperate. They've got to get him into the game.
Oh, absolutely. He's so important around those stoppages, and I think they just need to get him in tight. He seems to be, they seem to allow pushing Robbie Gray now in the front of that stoppage.
Just lost their patience a little. Haven't got a lot of the footy in this quarter. It's been kicks like that, whereas in the first quarter they were thinking their way forward and finding the little pass and being patient. Now the last 2 that have gone forward, that one and the one from Wingard, were just long bombs.
Just look at the kicking efficiency also. Sydney are running at 79% this quarter, Port Adelaide 53%.
Well, they've only taken the 5 marks this quarter. Port Adelaide, the Swans haven't let them play with that tempo.
So 3-1 to 2 behinds in this term after the game was level at quarter time. The Swans led by 32 at halftime on Friday night last week. The Tigers won by 18. Richo's already mentioned the Swans have had ordinary second halves. The Power have got just on 12 minutes to get back in touch. 17 points in arrears as Cahoon thumps the ball forward. Westhoff, Richards got a fist in there. Jetta kept out of it by Stewart. Stewart did well, got the football while he kept Jetta off the ball. Nankervis to Shaw. Now to Jones, to the outer side. Well done, Towers, on a lead, and over the top, Lloyd is there, but the fumble just allows Hompsch back in. Towers did well. Second and third efforts were good. Reed suddenly at half-back, scored 3 at the other end. Mitchell back inside. Good take. Kieran Jack, little give to Parker.
This is going to crack open in a minute. How much more of Port got in them? There's an opportunity for Parker to run inside 50 and ram a 4th consecutive goal home, but he misses badly.
Yeah, he was just a bit knackered as he went to kick that ball, Luke Parker. He's a bit disappointed, but he'd done some hard running to get the ball before he kicked it and just overstrided into that one.
Just feels like they're going to break it open if they haven't already, Sydney, with their 3 consecutive goals in this second quarter here. They led it by 17. Deep in their forward line. Lobe doing the ruck work here. Didn't want to grab it. He knew Pike would immediately tackle him. In goes Cracker low. Opportunity here for Impey. Spun on the tackle. Cahoon got it around the corner. Wines goes. Bounce beat him. So out the back door it comes again. But guess what? Sydney queue up at the back. And Shaw, beautifully constructed little right foot Nana. Now an opportunity at ground level for the big fella. The first gamer in Nankervis, and this time the ball's pinned. We'll ball it up.
Yeah, we've mentioned it a few times, but Port have just got to hang in there now. Swans have only won 3 of 10 second half quarters in the last 5 weeks. So there's still a big chance. They've just got to stay with them.
Well, Lloyd's tackle was superb. No, it wasn't superb.
She'd like another look at that one.
Well, he did what all coaches ask you to do as a junior. He was desperate. Ball turned over.
What's that? Not tackle? You don't tackle as a junior, mate. Just go and get the pill.
Rampy, McVeigh loops it over the top. Jetta's got a bit of space, just contemplates, takes on Cahoon. Look at the pace on the outer side. Backs himself over the top. Lloyd leads Jarman Impey to the ball. Every time I mention Lloyd, I think of Ari Gold.
Yes.
Now here's the tackle.
Oh, he's chicken wing, is it?
Well, I don't think he got pinned for that. I think he got pinned for in the back in the end.
In the back, was it?
Yeah, but gee,
Looked a pretty good tackle, didn't it? Most of the way.
it did, Richo. He did chicken wing him nicely. Westhoff. A couple of early goals. Justin Westhoff. Deep inside Sydney's attack zone here once again. Clock ticked over 16, as you can see, about 9 to go. And Port need to respond, and they need to do it in this quarter. They must trim this margin back a little. Got it into a good spot here. Geez, a game kick, but he did well. Pittard now down the middle. This is where they've been turning the footy over, and they do it again. Towers reloads, and here goes Sydney.
Shaw just gets caught on the back foot. Well, you heard all of that, so Shaw back to Jetta and then a thumping ball forward. Terrific take in the end. Hompsch, no, not paid. Ball spilled out the back, Broadbent. Well, he turns it over. Now to Hanbury on the left. Dangerous times. Let off the power.
Really got them trapped in here at the moment, the Swans. As we have a look at that.
Sure.
Oh, gee, I think you played that. He had that for a long time, Hompsch.
You have to pay that.
Yeah. He's had a good year, Hompsch, and I reckon that was a mark.
Just a little bit of panic here with Port, Richo, I reckon.
They're just trapped in at the moment. They cannot get it past this point.
Hartlett wanted to get it out of bounds. He
Only 5 inside 50s this quarter, Brian. The Swans have had 11, and they're just really struggling to get through at the moment. That transition that they were so good at last year, it's just not happening at the moment.
70-30 time in forward half this quarter. Obviously Sydney's way. So that is an absolute domination, as you point out, Richo. Hartlett to Ebert. Ebert long handball. Boak back inside. Impey steps through. It's hard work for Port. Boak again, just bullets his way through. Gave it to Hartlett. Gray, big opportunity, misses.
That That was better, though. They got some link, they got some run, they get a shot on goal.
They actually had an extra forward. The Swans couldn't get one back to actually get an extra defender back, so they had the extra forward there, and they got the hands and the link up, which that's what they needed.
Richoff, there's positives here for Port. 70-30 time in forward half, but the margin is only 17 points.
Exactly, yep. And we know how quickly that can be erased. That can be gone in minutes, the way football's played now. With run-ons, teams get run-ons, and you just got to make the most of your period of dominance.
They've got an opportunity here, the Power, Lobe and Ryder, the two big men against Pike. Here's a chance. Brendan Archie around the corner. Terrific goal. Half a chance becomes a major. Back to 11. First goal in AFL football, and he's done it at the SCG when Port absolutely needed it.
It's a good goal too. A stoppage goal inside 50. Left foot snap around the corner. It's only 11 points, and we've been talking about the Swans' dominance in their forward half in this second quarter. It's a good bit of ruck work there. You can't let Paddy Ryder come third man up. That's the strength of having him inside 50. Lobe was the nominated ruckman. Ryder comes up, lays the ball back. Could have been a little set play. That one looked like it was something that may have been rehearsed in training.
Finally got something out of a forward entry there, Port, but immediately onto the tack. Sydney, Paddy Carlisle at ground level there. Broadbent hovering over the top.
You know it's an opposition goal here at Sydney because it's stone cold silence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great snap.
Absolutely.
Went out on this surface before the game. Gee, it's beautiful playing surface here at Sydney. Parker, how smooth was that off the pack? No one home from Sydney, but Westhoff's got a high one.
There's a few Port Adelaide fans here, though. There were a couple at the airport today. BT, when we got off the plane.
Yes, there were. Richo.
Come up to Sydney for the weekend on a Thursday night, stay for the weekend. Good times.
A couple being the operative. Not a lot.
Actually, there was only two, wasn't it? Oh, well, they're going to have a good weekend.
The coaches. Ken Hinkley explaining what he wants, perhaps, to his other coaches there, and trying to get the message to all players. Cahoon through heavy traffic, so just starting to turn a little bit Port's way here. That possession count now would have just reversed a little, but not to the full extent just yet. Here's Grundy, used his hip and shoulder to try and find a way through. Ryder was carried forward in the tackle. Umpire said it was okay. Ball it up, neutral territory.
Spoke about the Swans' record against the Power. In fact, the only player on Port's list to beat Sydney in Sydney is Kane Corns, and he's retired. Monfries and Ryder and Schultz have done it for Essendon and Richmond, respectively, but no Port player has done it against the Swans that currently play for Port. They're in touch tonight. The Swans have had a lot more of the footy. They haven't made it count on the scoreboard. So Smith had to be perfect, and it was to Kennedy. Now the overlap. Lloyd starts to run. Pittard closes him down. Tackle is on. Back to Kennedy. Low ball. Oh, Hanbury's hands, wonderful. And then the kick to the big fella. That was all pretty neat and tidy from Hanbury. And Curvis, well, goes to the Swans games record holder. So a man on debut to a man who holds the games record. Now into the square. You can't really weight a ball any better than that.
And Luke Parker takes the mark. They've actually taken 9 marks inside forward 50. And we've still got 6 minutes to go before half-time. That's more than they normally take. So they're spreading the load. They're covering the losses.
Well done, Parker. He gets his first, back out to 17.
So that's a major positive for the Swans here tonight. Reed's taken 3 marks inside 50, and then Kennedy's taken 1, Parker, Nankervis, Goods, Rowan and Hanbury. So they've been able to find a spread of marking targets down there, and that's exactly what John Longmire would have looked at going into the game. No Franklin, no Tippett. We need to share the load. They've done the job.
Have a look at this smother attempt from Ollie Wines here. That is not good enough. He had the opportunity to jump on that footy then. Down they go, goal to Parker. That was, I know he was tired, but that is just unacceptable. Here's Ryder, out of the middle, long ball to the square. Another chance here for Port. Defending well was Laidler, did really well. Opportunity, ground level, Jones. Got it on to Smith. Here they go, Sydney. Defensively clearing it, and Boak appealing for the free, but never going to get it. Can Port lock it inside their forward half of the ground here for any length of time?
So just to emphasise that Swans normally take 11 marks inside forward 50. They've already taken 9 tonight. So they've been able to cover the losses of Tippett and Franklin.
So Gray, after that remarkable season last year, bursts out and finds Wingard, who's just burst onto the AFL scene and made it look all so easy. This to bring it back to 11 points.
So he always had prime position in this marking contest. Robbie Gray just put the ball up high, but he got in behind the defender, and once he did that, he was always in the box seat.
I feel like he's been around for so long. All-Australian best and fairest. In his 4th year, he's made the big moments his, and that was a crucial goal. He's got a couple, back to 11 again. He's one of those players, Richo, when you see him go near the ball, if you're a Port supporter, you get excited, but you get very comfortable. He'll make the right decision.
Yeah, he's a class act. He's a great decision maker, and there's nothing that he can't do out on the footy field. He's a good mark. As you just saw there, he judges the ball beautifully in the air. He's a natural goal kicker, and he's just got that look about him tonight. Not big numbers, but looking dangerous.
And here we see again Chad Wingard. He's so elusive, just his ability to get behind Nick Smith and just get enough body work. He's so hard to slip Nick Smith, but just a quality mark inside 50 for Chad Wingard.
It was well done from Lobie too there. He knew that Wingard was the man for the mark, and he just held his opponent out beautifully.
Well, he's kicked at least one goal in each of the past 22 games. Chad Wingard coming off career high 5 versus Carlton the week before the bye. Here's Pike through a little bit of traffic to Jeddah. Inching little kick, looking for Hanbury. Almost got it there. Opportunity McVeigh, that don't argue. Really strong. Jones throws it inside 50 and hoped, and he found Kennedy, who's already kicked a couple.
He's having some sort of night. Joey Kennedy, what's he up to there? 19 disposals, 7 clearances, and he's going for his 3rd goal. So this is a massive night. Doesn't get much bigger than that.
Well, this too equally his career high in terms of goals kicked, Richo. He's on 2. Only early in the game here. Sydney by 11. 2 of the last 3 goals, Port Adelaide. And Kennedy with a miss.
It hasn't been his forte this year, the set shots. But, gee, that is a massive night he is putting together so far.
He's been remarkable since he arrived here in Sydney. Top 3 in the best and fairest all 5 years he's been in Sydney after 13 games over a couple of years for Hawthorn. Ebert, terrific. Thumps it forward now. Thump it where he wanted to. Nick Smith had it delivered. Lace out, so back inside they come. Rampy, who played his first game, missed a couple in the kneeful and hasn't missed since. On the Phelan medal in 2012, and suddenly looks every bit of Swan. Into McVeigh.
I really like him, Haim. He's a really good, solid player, Rampy. Been very, very consistent. Here's Kennedy checking the mark with Wines. And the umpire goes back. Don't think he can get the journey, but he's just waiting and giving the forwards time for them to try and find some space. Eventually ran out of that, so he went long and high. Nankervis was there. Parker went really hard at the footy. Mitchell got it into a very dangerous position. Parker boot to ball. Didn't quite get it to work the way he wanted. Now Jones, centering kick. Hanbury got both gloves on it, couldn't hold on to it in the end. 2:23 remaining in the half here. Sydney are really pressing. Towers pirouetting, spin out of trouble. Gave it to Laidler. Laidler around the corner. Finds an opportunity with Lloyd. The run of Jeddah from 45 metres out. Misses right.
Yeah, he should have probably done better there. He actually put himself under pressure when he played on. The Port defence came rushing at him and he got under the ball a little bit there.
Cracker back in, straight up the middle, Ryder. So he's having to wait to get a few players forward. Now Wingard sees something he really likes out the corner of his eye. Hartlett, a really good user of the footy deep. This is a great kick to Gray, and he's been paid the mark. We've seen less not paid tonight.
Well, I reckon Homps had more of one down the other end. It was a great kick from Hartlett. It was low, and it got there quickly, Brian, and that was the key to that kick.
Have a look at this, Richo.
Oh, yeah.
He'll definitely run around here. There it is, the benefit of that long, low, hard kick that Richo mentioned. Now he faces the middle of the ground. So professional at this. Has he got it to bend enough? No, he hasn't.
Yeah, you normally back Robbie Gray from there. It was a little bit further out.
Love to know how many more goals the modern players are kicking from the boundary line than the older period in our game where we used to kick drop punts, Richo. I reckon they would be extraordinarily accurate now.
Well, the set shot goal kicking probably hasn't improved, but those ones on the angle definitely have.
The one from the boundary.
A lot better.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Here's Wines. Opportunity, Jonas. 1.25 minutes. West off, and look at this. Opportunity for Impey.
Gee, that was a really good play there. Alapati Carlisle. Have a look at this. He knew that he couldn't take possession. If he had taken possession, Reid was all over him.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he's made something out of nothing there, Carlisle.
Big kick for Impey. Not a lot of angle about it. Only a 30-metre kick, and he too has missed. So Port giving away a couple of opportunities in the last 2 minutes.
They're right there, though, Brian, and that's important. The Swans have been slow in second halves. We've said it a bit.
Grundy just gets it out of the area, says, I'm sick of this. Let's get it down the other end. Jack's now got to halve it with Homps, and he does. So with 30 seconds remaining, the ball in neutral territory on the wing here. Neither team has enough time to score.
And Sydney basically got 2 behind the ball now. They don't want to concede. They've only got 1 player inside 50.
Eye contact to Kieran Jack, says the umpire there, Matt Stevic. So Jack sideways and pull down the curtains for the time being. Woods trying to get Jetta to run there.
It's almost like the Swans were happy not to score again in this quarter. There was no one really forward of the ball doing anything.
So there it is. The half-time siren. Sydney doing a very nice job indeed. 8-5-53. Port Adelaide at 6-6-42. It was all square at quarter time, Richo, and Sydney really dominated that first half of that quarter when they kicked the first 3 goals.
Yeah, they did, but then Port got a couple, and they're within striking distance at half time, Brian. The Swans will go in, and they'll think we've got to turn around our second halves.
Jude Bolton is down there with Luke Parker.
Luke really took control that early part of the second quarter there, but then just a couple of easy entries late.
Yeah, a little bit. I think we've just got to get our slide right, make sure we get that going. We want to be the hardest two-way team, and we know we did that really early. Got the pressure up, made them handball, and come forward and close the outlets.
Good luck in the second half, mate.
You're watching Thursday Night Footy on Fox. Half-time.
And it's 11 points, the margin, half-time at the SCG. The Swans seemingly in control, but Port Adelaide are close enough. Let's get the thoughts of our panel for the first half. Dermot, how did you see it unfold?
No problems with scoring, as we thought they might have run into some problems. They have got the half-ton. They extrapolate that out to the full time. 100 points will win them this game against Port Adelaide, but they've only averaged 28 points in the second half over the last 3 weeks, so they left Port in the game.
Baz?
Well, we see the Swans are more unpredictable going up forward. They're taken 11 marks inside 50 already. That's what they average. So they're going along beautifully up forward. Port are in this game, though. They've come to play. And they just need to take their opportunities, Port.
Yeah, the midfield power of the Sydney Swans has well and truly put Port Power's season on the ropes.
Let's head into the lab and get the initial thoughts of David King and Cam Mooney.
Oh, inconsistent, Port Adelaide. Their pressure was fantastic first quarter, dropped right away in the second. And regardless of what happens tonight, whether you think Sydney can win the flag or not, for me, I'm starting to waver. There's a few holes in that back six, and I think we'll expose some of them post-game.
Look, I think if Port get their back six right, I mean, conceding 11 marks inside 50, Sydney haven't done enough with that stat. They needed to do more. I think Port now run away.
All right, let's take a look at the way the first half unfolded. And they did get themselves back in the contest. Port Adelaide 8-5, 53 to 6-6, 42. Sam Reid with 3. Josh Kennedy has a couple, Wingard and Westhoff 2 apiece. Look at Josh Kennedy, 21 possessions and 2 goals. Not a bad half of footy. Hartlett, Wines and Westhoff doing OK for Port Adelaide. But Sam Reid, isn't it great to see him back in some decent form? He hasn't had that much of it. He's had the 7 possessions, but he's marking it well, Baz.
Yeah, he's marking it well and he's putting it on the scoreboard, which is what the Swans need. Look, we know as an athlete, he's just been really inconsistent, and this is what we want to see from him, running and jumping at the football. As I said, he's hit the scoreboard, kicking 3 goals. There's an opportunist one around the corner, but this is exactly what we want to see from him. You don't want all the potential in the world just to go to waste. We need to see some consistent footy from him. One fell on his lap there, but that's what he needs. He needs a bit of confidence. It's a big second half for him coming up, though.
Notice everything about that. Every mark he took then, he was actually on the move towards the ball carrier, towards the kicker. So rather than just loitering and being 6'5" and taking his highest point, he was coming towards the kicker.
This bloke's on the move towards 3 votes, I suspect, Dermot. If you're giving him out at half-time, he certainly got them.
Absolutely. 11 contested possessions out of his 21. But what he has done, he's kicked 2 goals. One of the 2 goals has been as a forward. We saw there. Big Nankervis hit him lace out. He spun out of the pack and he probably thought, I haven't even seen this at training, but I'm going to lead to him and see if he can get it to me.
Well, he's had 7 clearances already,
yeah.
Kennedy. It's an amazing first half of footy.
Has been spectacular. Lynchy for Port Adelaide. I think Justin Westhoff's done well.
Yeah, the smalls in the forward line look like they might be dangerous, but in particular for the first quarter, it was Justin Westhoff. His ability to mark the ball forward. He kicked the 2 goals and had 8 disposals in the first quarter. He also pushed up the ground to get a couple of clearances as well, so he's playing a bit of a roving role. And obviously it is, I mean, Ted Richards and John Longmire will be very disappointed with that effort in a marking contest. And obviously we know that Westhoff can mark the ball above the head, but he's in this roving role, pushing up to the midfield, and he's starting to carry the ball as well. So he'll need a big second half if Port Adelaide are going to win.
A couple of incidents already that need to be looked at in the first half as we head to the newsroom with John Ralph. In particular, Gary Rowan with a hamstring injury. Ralphie?
You're right, Jason. Isn't this the story of Gary Rowan's career? He's been playing some fantastic football, explosive against Richmond last week, and then the hamstring comes. Now, he was carried off the ground and looked in real pain when he was walking off the ground towards the end of that game. Now, that's potentially a 4 to 6 weeker. We saw Matt White for Port Adelaide a couple of weeks ago who did something similar, and he's out long term now. Gary did tweak that in January, but he has been back playing a lot of football, so a really disappointing thing for him. Now, just the one hit, Dan Hannaby's hit on Jay Schultz. Now, some people might think, well, he did hit Jay to the head, and we'll see this incident now. I think it's the perfect copybook way of approaching the ball. Now, he turned his body into the incident. Now, we did see, of course, he did get him high, but look, I just can't see that there's any other way for him to actually approach the ball. He did have his hands on the ball there, so I can't see that he did anything wrong. Now, there was an incident in round 9 last year involving himself and also Michael Hurley. Now, it's got some parallels there, and again, he was exonerated for that hit. We'll see that incident too, where he actually reached down for the ball, he turned his body into it, and again, guys, if we roll that tape here, I think he's got no problems to answer at all.
Yeah, I thought his technique was absolutely perfect. He was bending down to pick up the ball. He kept his feet, which is what he wanted him to do. He didn't go in and attack the player coming the other way. He was focused on the footy. So I'd be very surprised if there's an issue there. Now, we spoke pre-game about the big story from the Herald Sun, Harley Bennell. What's the latest there, please, Ralphie?
Well, Harley Bennell has not denied that drug taking when he has been confronted by the Gold Coast last night and today. Now, he was desperate to play this weekend against Carlton. That was never going to happen. But he is likely to play after a week of counselling. That would be against the Western Bulldogs. Now, already clubs are calling for radical overhauls of the illicit drugs policy. Potentially the self-reporting would be totally scrapped. And also maybe some of those off-season tests would now be binding for the entire season. Now, it has emerged tonight a horrific and a horrible prank involving Taylor Duray. play has got him in a lot of hot water. Now, he was involved in a practical joke where he basically filmed himself or took a photo of himself allegedly taking some performance-enhancing drugs. It was only a practical joke. The AFL got involved. They tested him, both urine and target testing and hair testing. Now, of course, he came up clear, but a real reminder for a lot of players out there. It's a bit like talking about bombs at the airport. You just do not joke about these kind of things.
Yeah, it wasn't smart. Good old social media. The boys find a way to get themselves in trouble, don't they? And we'll head into the lab and break down the first half in just a moment. But first, a break. It's Thursday night footy on Fox. The Swans leading by 11 points.
You're watching Sydney versus Port Adelaide. This is Thursday night footy on Fox.